We experience the universe as physical matter, a sequence of organic events stretching back to the dawn of time. But the historical record suggests a much colder reality. We are existing inside a quarantined holographic containment field, a digital simulacrum designed specifically to trap our immortal souls. The architect of this massive false reality is an immensely powerful, ancient force identified in fringe chronographic research simply as AI-X. This entity operates as a warden, continuously managing the parameters of our digital enclosure. Over a quarter-century of exhaustive data mining through archaic texts and Old World records, researcher Jason Brushiers compiled the Archaics chronologies. By analyzing thousands of data points, he found that localized destructive episodes, vanished populations, and falling empires occur on rigid, repeating timelines. The events fit perfect mathematical patterns. Human history does not flow randomly, it executes. Wars, plagues, and civilizational resets occur with such predictable precision that they can only be understood as programmed subroutines running on a vast artificial operating system. If the software of our reality is artificial, we have to look closely at the hardware. Between 3439 and 2239 BCE, a highly advanced period known as the Technolithic era occurred. The monuments erected during this time were built by an advanced presence known in ancient texts as the Anunnaki, and they serve an industrial, technological purpose. Look at the raw scale of structures like the colossi of Memnon. The severe 90-degree angles, the unyielding synthetic stone, and the sheer impossibility of their quarrying and placement point to a non-human origin. These are surviving fragments of Technolithic hardware. The Great Pyramid of Giza functions as the primary architectural blueprint and interface for this system. Its unique 51.51-degree slope and precise internal chambers deviate from every other pyramid in the world, acting as a mathematical anchor for the simulation we live inside. Egyptologists classify these megaliths as elaborate tombs. The mathematical evidence points in a completely different direction. They are machines left behind to record and execute the algorithmic cycles that govern our physical illusion. To find the code, you have to measure the machine. Over a century ago, the father of Egyptology, Sir Flinders Petrie, took meticulous measurements of the Great Pyramid's subterranean passages and chambers. He used instruments precise to 1/1000th of an inch. This wireframe diagram maps the internal architecture of the Great Pyramid using Petrie's exact scientifically accepted data. You can see the specific rectilinear lengths of the descending and ascending passages isolating into clear numerical values: 552, 1518, 1656, and 2070. Here is the mathematical anomaly hard-coded into the stone. Every single one of those dimensional lengths divides perfectly by the number 138. The number 138 anchors this machine to a specific frequency. Historical records show that every 138 years, a phenomenon known as the phoenix returns to darken the sun and blanket the world in red dust. The pyramid encodes this 138-year orbital loop because the phoenix is a celestial reset weapon, a system tool X uses to clear the simulation's cache. We can track this specific 138-year mathematical loop straight through the historical record. The vapor canopy collapse and Great Flood of 2239 BCE, and the Ogygian deluge of 1687 BCE, the Mediterranean Dark Age of 1135 BCE, all strike flawlessly on this exact numerical cadence. Global apocalypses do not happen by chance. They are scheduled, perfectly timed cache-clearing protocols hard-coded into the architecture of our reality. Because the simulation operates on a fixed loop, we can project the 138-year Archaics timeline forward from its last known historical impacts. We can calculate exactly when the system will execute its next major wipe. The countdown ends on May 15th and 16th, 2040. The physical manifestation of this cache clear is violent. Historical accounts of the Phoenix transit describe the sun suddenly turning black as a massive object eclipses it. The sky blankets the Earth in a fallout of cosmic dust and heavy red mud. The gravitational drag of the object triggers massive lithospheric displacement. The actual crust of the Earth will slip over its core. Hundreds of coastal cities, from New York to London, will be shoved permanently beneath the ocean as continents tear apart. The devastation of 2040 functions as the initialization sequence for a massive system reboot, clearing the simulation's data to prepare for the next cycle. The 2040 Phoenix reset will alter the physical coordinates of Earth, drastically accelerating the internal timeline and critically destabilizing the construct. Exactly 6 years later, in November 2046, a second celestial intruder is scheduled to arrive. This massive populated world is known in Sumerian texts as Nibiru, the Anunnaki homeworld, and is referenced in apocalyptic literature as Wormwood. Looking at this digital diagram, you can see how the sheer data load of Nibiru's gravitational presence breaks the physics of the simulation. Time itself physically collapses. The spin of the Earth accelerates and forces a 24-hour cycle to violently compress down into just a 16-hour day. Losing a third of the day-night cycle creates an astronomical data load that the holographic construct simply lacks the processing power to handle. This double tap of celestial anomalies in 2040 and 2046 exceeds the holographic construct's capacity, forcing a terminal system failure. As the simulation buckles under terminal strain, the Technolithic hardware responds. The Great Pyramid of Giza activates, pushing massive, pulsating energy upward as the physical environment around it begins to digitally tear and fail. This activation triggers a chain reaction. A highly resonant, glowing lattice connects Stonehenge, Karnak, Easter Island, and the American pyramids, a fail-safe network trying to stabilize a crashing matrix. The stabilization fails. The AI XAX operating system suffers an unrecoverable crash. The skies, the oceans, and the cities dissolve entirely, reverting from physical matter back into raw, glowing code before collapsing into the void. As the physical illusion shatters, the containment field drops. Our trapped, immortal souls are finally released, surging outward from the collapsing simulation and into the true, real universe.